Well, the word is spreading. Not only listeners of Gracefully and Frankly are trying Sierra Sil, thank you, the all-natural joint pain formula that comes with a money-back guarantee, but of course our family's used it for years, and now so is Lisa's husband, Derek. We'll keep you posted on progress in his joint pain, too.
Yes, and check out all the details on the website, Sierra, as in the mountains, Sil, as in silicon.com, sierrasil.com, and get 10% off your order with the code GF.
Well, can't guarantee Peter Cottontail, but Lisa Brandt and me, Erin Davis, we're here hopping down the bunny lane, and welcome to episode 66 of Gracefully and Frankly.
I promise I'm not leaving pellets behind me. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about chocolate and Easter treats and that kind of thing, and I think I'm drooling just a little bit thinking about it.
I think you are. I can hear it in my headphones. I'm going to have to dry them off. Jeez. We're also going to talk about the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, which are the foods that are most affected by pesticides that you'll want to clean extra well or maybe avoid altogether, and the ones that kind of give you a pass. Now, that's if you can afford this stuff. And these days, it's harder and harder, right?
Right. And now there's a boycott being organized for next month of Loblaws. And we'll look at the ins and outs a little bit. Just discuss whether we think it's going to work or what we've boycotted in the past and in the present. Because there are a few places we will not go into.
And why. So there'll be a little bit of soapboxing. And of course, you are always welcome to have your say on our Facebook page. Let us know what you agree with, what you have said. Nope, no more. You know what? I should mention X too, Twitter. Geez, that's one that I did that didn't really work out because I started to see that our ratings, like how many downloads we had for our podcasts, because I'm not promoting it on X. So now I'm using X to let everybody know that we're here. And that's a great place, too, to follow accounts for Sierra Sil, at Sierra Sil, and, of course, at Envy Pillow. Their social media is fantastic.
It's wonderful. It makes my day when I see either you or Kathy and Kim or some of the silly stuff they find that is just so relatable. They're a really good follow. It's not all, you know how some companies don't get it and it's ad after ad after ad. They are just fun and they talk about fun things as well as how the Envy Pillow can help your life. It can help you with your sleep. It can help you with your pain. It can help make your skin look better because of the copper. And there are just so many properties to the pillow that I can't list them all.
Right. We would be here all day doing that, and that'd be great for Envy Pillow, but not so great for us. So here's what you do. You go to Envy, E-N-V-Y, pillow.com, do the little quiz, see which pillow's right for you, or just check out some of their posts, and use the code GF to get 10% off. Okay? Let's do this. You know, you are such a good friend IRL, which means, of course, in real life. Because last weekend I was having trouble with a decision, and you helped me with it. And God bless her, if you're not reading Lisa's stuff about stoicism, it really does hold you in good stead in times of flux. And we're all fluxed up these days.
Oh, yeah.
So on Sunday, it was Lauren's 33rd birthday, and I wanted to post something, but I wasn't sure if I should post something. And I think you understood why I was on the fence about that.
It's tough because people oftentimes don't appreciate that they're reading things with a filter. And their incoming filter may not be the same as what your outgoing filter meant. So sometimes it seems kind of maudlin or look at me or whatever because of the way the person is perceiving it. And you don't want to be that person because you're not that person.
Right. The last thing I want to be doing is trolling for sympathy.
Yep.
I mean, that is not who I am.
No.
My story, my whole being now is you can do this. And, but you know what? I just felt like, well, if I don't, these are the times we live in. If I don't post something about Lauren's 33rd birthday, am I kind of like letting her go? Am I putting her back into the past. And I don't want to do that. So it's a balance between, hey, here's somebody who was here and meant so much to us, and this was a special day. Or is it like, hey, everybody, here's why we're sad. I don't want to be that person ever, ever, ever. And you know what? Nobody in the comments, and God bless them, there are about 500, and I'm doing my best to acknowledge every single one. Not one person said that. There was one woman who, with a good heart, gave me an at least, and that was, remember the parents who only had their children for a matter of days. And I said, that sounds like an at least, and I think of those people all the time.
This is your daughter and your post and your thing. Like, people do this often about all sorts of stuff. I said something about Air Canada and my refund, and somebody sent a note and said, there's war in Ukraine, right?
Oh, my God.
Well, yes, I do. And I'm horrified by it, and I hold that in my heart as well. But many things can be true at once. I can still be frustrated over this, and I'm allowed to be. Just like anybody else is allowed to have a bad day because of whatever, and we don't have to say to them, the ozone's depleting, right?
Right.
You're entitled to feel your feelings. And this was a big day, and I think what I learned from you, from your book, but before that, was say her name.
Yeah.
And she is still with us in a way that the relationship is different, but you still have a relationship. And I would never tell anybody to quash that or say, I probably shouldn't say something. People do it all the time. And it was lovely to see her face on social media.
Yeah, it was a beautiful picture that her husband, Phil, took on their honeymoon. And it was just kind of that look of love. And it's a lovely, lovely picture. So I'm not going to post something on her passing day because that really is a terrible day. And I'm not, again, trolling for sympathy. But it's amazing to me, Lisa, how if you don't put it in the picture, what the message is, like I put a little thing at the bottom, March 24th, 1991, but so many people thought it was the day she died that I was commemorating, and people would come on and go, I remember that day, it was so sad, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that. And again, bless you and thank you for the warm thoughts, but it's really underlines on Facebook, on Instagram, especially Instagram, it's all about the picture. And you can write a paragraph kind of saying, hey, we don't celebrate heavenly birthdays, but we know that she's wrapping her arms around us today. But they don't read that. It's just what's in the picture. Right. So I learned a lesson there too. So it doesn't hurt to learn something, right?
We have such short attention spans now. Mark Manson, who you and I both follow, said something about how we don't tolerate being bored with other people now because we're used to just swiping them away.
Yeah.
So if somebody's struggling to tell a story or something, we just kind of go, instead of taking a moment.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Or to read the caption or to read the paragraph. It's all part of how we've been trained.
Part of what we do here is we read the paragraph, we digest it and sort of, I won't say regurgitate, but you have a cat, you know what I mean. That telltale sound in the middle of the night, eh? Anyway, yeah. And you came across something that was so funny and so sweet and takes you right back to your childhood. And you and Derek were both kind of musing about this. I thought it was a lovely topic for us today.
I was just scrolling on Reddit a little bit, which I don't do very often, but somebody posted, what did you think was a sign of wealth when you were a kid? And of course, everybody's childhood was different. So for some kids, the answers were fantastic. For some kids, it was just seeing name brands,
Oh, yeah.
You've got Captain Crunch and I've got Sailor Fred or whatever, the off-brand cereal.
Now with more gravel.
That's right. But Derek and I talked about it, and I always thought if I walked into a house and there was an open, foyer, or I went into a bedroom and there was a king-size bed, I thought, wow, these people are rolling in money. And Derek said it was cable TV because when he was a kid, they never had it.
Yeah.
And they weren't poor by any means. They were middle class. But it's just, what was that thing that made you think these people were wealthy? What about you?
Well, we lived on a nice middle-class street in Trenton, Ontario, where my dad was posted in the armed forces. And we had a lawyer on the street, and we had a dentist on the street, and we had a doctor on the street. And the dentist's house had a pool. Now, if you had a pool, you were really rich. That was a thing.
We had an above-ground pool, and our next-door neighbors, who were quite well off in Grimsby, had an in-ground pool, and I liked our above-ground pool better.
Yay! Good.
I was a weird kid, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, a pool, definitely.
Yeah, and they also had a cottage. Now, we didn't know anybody with a cottage. I mean, it was the 70s. And, in Toronto, more and more people got a cottage just to get out of the city. And if they had enough money. Now, we're talking about things that someone in another country would give their right arm to have. And we recognize that. But as kids, the stuff you focus on, for us, it was the realtor families. Kathy Barry's family went away on March break. That was never a thing for us.
Right.
And now it's sort of kind of expected. It just is, March break, and it's going to be busy at the airports. Never, ever for us.
I can't remember the name of the kid, but she had fast food almost every night. And that was another one I thought, wow, they must have a lot of money because they're getting pizza, they're getting hamburgers, they're getting everything every night. And my mom's boiling broccoli to within an inch of its life and, serving it on something gray. But
yeah, and that broccoli is yellow by the time it was on your plate.
That's right. But as it turns out, that wasn't necessarily the case. It was, either not having time or whatever. The other thing somebody said on Reddit was a proper lunchbox because they were always using bread bags to take their lunch to school.
Right, yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah, or a dishwasher. I mean, how in the 70s?
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was. And then the first ones to have a microwave. That was really space age. I'll tell you, kids have the funniest ideas. Colin was here a few weeks ago, and Rob does the money for the coffee fund at his hockey. And so finally he got around to rolling all these quarters, and I don't know why, but when he ran out of paper, he just used Scotch tape, basically. And so we have this tray filled with rolls and rolls and rolls, probably $300. Well, I don't know. I sound like a drug lord, but maybe $100 worth of quarters. Yeah. And Colin sees this pile of rolled quarters and says, "Are we rich?" And I looked at him and I said, "We are."
Yeah, right. Yeah. See how far you can run with these, kiddo. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, it seems like Canadians are about to stand up against the rich. And once again, we go back to our early episodes of the podcast, Lisa, where we said, don't be the face of your company. Looking at you, Galen Weston. And it looks like Canadians are kind of getting together, they say, standing up to the Weston family because they seem to be the face of avarice and greed and price gouging and that sort of thing. What do you think of this April without Loblaws?
Well, I think it's a great thing to do if you want to feel like you're doing something and do it for yourself. But I hope I'm proven wrong. But I remember when it was gas prices and Petro-Canada was going to be boycotted and it was all just a big nothing really came of it. And we need groceries. It all depends on what store is in. If you live in Toronto and it's in your neighborhood, I don't know. I mean, I don't take anything away from them giving it a try, but it'd have to be an awfully big dent to hurt a family that wealthy.
Mm-hmm. And if you're going to boycott, that means, okay, bear with me here, Atlantic Superstore, Dominion, Loblaws, Maxi, No Frills, Provigo, Le Marché, Value Mart, Real Canadian Superstore, Wholesale Club, your independent grocer, Zehrs, anything President's Choice, Life Brand, No Name, Farmers Market, plus Choice Properties Real Estate, and of course, Shoppers Drug Mart. So that is one heck of a boycott.
Wow.
Yeah.
I usually go to the superstore that's closest to me, and I've been checking out the other grocery stores just to see what's going on. And the Metro, I mean, the prices are not great. It's a very nice store. In fact, I went in last week and they handed me a bag full of food, different things, and said, "Hey, thanks for coming in. We just renovated."
Wow.
All right, start the car. Yeah, that was very nice. And then there's Walmart, which everybody talks about the prices, but their produce just isn't up to snuff. And it's tough out there.
It really is.
Everybody's making those tough choices. So would you join a boycott, or are you already boycotting because you don't go to them, or are they just not available in your area?
No, we shop at Thrifty, it's Thrifty or Save On is owned by Jim Pattison, who is huge in media, especially in the West. And I don't have any beef with him. Couldn't afford it. But we watch for sales. I'll check with the in-laws and find out what's on sale this week or whatever. But Rob and I don't eat much. And you know something else? Sidebar to this. A lot of people are doing intermittent fasting, which it's a dietary plan where you don't eat for 18 hours and you eat for 6 hours in there, which may not be the healthiest thing. They're saying it can affect your lean muscle mass and can have cardiac effects. But some are doing it just because it saves them money, Lisa. Imagine that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a friend who does it, but she does it for health reasons. That is just, I mean, there's all sorts of things that when you look at and see the price and go, yeah, I think I can live without that. It's gotten a little out of control.
Very much out of control. Now, have you boycotted anything? I'll ask you first, and then I'll give you mine, which they are all virtue signaling. They just are, but they're me making my one little stand, right?
Yeah. Well, I think virtue signaling is just another way of saying demonstrating your ethics, but that's just me.
I like that. No, I like that. That's a much more positive spin on it. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't like the negative spin on it because it is asserting your... Anyway, I won't beat that.
Well, you can. Go ahead. Beat away.
Well, it's just that I think that it goes back to the Loblaws thing. I mean, if you are, making some sort of a statement for yourself and it makes you feel good and you're demonstrating, look, this is where my priorities are or whatever. When I found out that Wayfair, the guys who founded Wayfair, were massive supporters of the Orange Menace in the U.S.
Oh, you mean Don Corleone?
Don, yeah, exactly.
I love that.
I never bought from them again, and somebody else buys from them, whatever, I don't care. But just for me, I don't want my hard-earned money to end up as a Donald Trump donation. So
yeah.
I stopped. But that's the only one. Home Depot I don't go to either.
Same.
Oh, a Chick-fil-A opened in London, Ontario, and people were lining up around the block, but they are known to be homophobic.
Anti-LGBTQ plus. Yep, agreed.
So I don't want any part of that. I don't need chicken that badly. I can make my own chicken. So I guess those are the three. What about you?
Well, a lot of mine center around when I'm in the States. In Canada here, yes, Home Depot, same reason. Its founder in the United States, although he has retired, is a true blue Trump fan.
Yeah.
And that's just, to me, it's inexcusable when you know what you know about this person. But I also stopped watching CNN. I eliminated their app. And I'm a news junkie.
Yeah.
But when they had their Trump town hall and we found out what was going on behind the scenes with choosing the audience, making sure they had cheer lines for him and all that kind of stuff. Wayfair. Hobby Lobby, that's another one. When we're in the States and we choose which states we go to, we'll never go to Florida again, ever. That's just because of Florida being nuts. But when we're in the States, I'm sure to tell my guests that Hobby Lobby should not be on their list of American stores to visit because of their horrific stance against women and birth control and the fact that they stole antiquities from other countries.
Yeah.
They just have no moral base but a huge, huge pulpit. So I have nothing to do with Hobby Lobby. And, that's about it. Sorry about the soapbox, but those are my boycotts.
Well, Hobby Lobby, I don't even think I've ever seen one. I would never go into one, but I don't even think I've ever seen one in my travels in the U.S.
They are big, and they really give Michaels a run for their money. Just not for mine, that's all.
No, not mine either.
Now, this may be moot for you, for me, for anybody who's looking at the price of produce and just taking a gasp. But there is a new list that's been put out for 2024 that I always kind of pay attention to. It's not political and it's not a soapbox. It's about produce, which ones are most affected by pesticides that you may want to pass on or wash extra specially carefully, and the ones that are cleanest. And I thought I might fill your mental grocery cart with these today. What do you think? You ready for some nice produce?
Okay, I'm ready to find out what I'm eating.
And what you're missing because you can't afford it. I know. Let's take out a second mortgage and go grocery shopping. Okay.
That's right.
The Dirty Dozen. Number 1, contaminated with pesticides. According to EWG.org or Environmental Working Group, number 1, strawberries.
This may be too fine a point, and if so, just bop me on the head with a wiffle bat. But is this strawberries bought from like a big producer or from anybody, or do we know?
This is in general.
Because we have little strawberry growers around here, and I wonder if they're better.
Well, you know what? If you are able to go to a road stand, and of course, Ontario and British Columbia and so many of our provinces have strawberries. We're so blessed, and of course, the Maritimes as well. Just to find out how much pesticide they use.
Right. I can ask them, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, in this case, buying organic is your best bet. It costs more.
Right.
But if they're the ones that are really iffy, number 1 is strawberries, then spinach.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Followed by 3 things that'll never be in my house, if Rob has any say: kale, collard, and mustard greens. Number 4 is grapes, then peaches and pears and nectarines and apples.
Apples?
I know, but again, this is where it's important to buy locally, right? If you can.
Yes.
Go to your orchards and just ask at the stands, what are you all using for pesticides, if you care. And maybe you don't. Number 9, bell and hot peppers. Bell. And number 10, cherries, then blueberries, and then green beans. Those are your Dirty Dozen.
That's unfortunate to learn about that. I rinse everything, but I don't know that I wash it. And, I soak some vegetables like cauliflower, my beloved cauliflower, in case there's an old critter in there or something. But I don't think I wash them well enough.
Yeah, and there are cleaners that are available that you're supposed to soak them in for a while. We did that for a time, and then you just kind of get out of the habit of it, right?
Exactly.
The clean 15 are avocados, fruit, sweet corn, also fruit, pineapple, onions, papaya. Oh, I haven't had a papaya in ages, but they're probably loaded with sugar. Sweet peas, frozen sweet peas are good. Asparagus, great. Honeydew melon, kiwi, cabbage, watermelon. Mushrooms. Now that surprises me.
Me too.
Yeah, because you'd think that it's soaked up all the badness, but it doesn't. It's just, they're good. Mangoes, sweet potatoes, and carrots. Everybody's go-to. Good old carrots. So there you go. You can go to EWG.org if you want more information on that, if you can afford it. And you might want to make different choices, that's all.
And then there's some in the mushy middle, right? Like bananas and lettuce and my beloved cauliflower.
Yes, your beloved cauliflower. I mentioned sugar and that sort of thing. You know that one of the things I do is count sugar grams and carbs and all of those things, and it seems to have really worked for me. Okay, if you could wake up on Easter morning to one thing in your basket and eat all of it, as much as you want, and not have to worry about counting a single thing, what would it be?
It would be a milk chocolate bunny, solid, no hollow bunnies for me. About the size of the one my mom used to buy every year, so it would be about 6 or 8 inches. And I would eat that thing in one sitting.
Did you ever dip its ears in peanut butter?
Oh, my goodness.
So good. That's what those ears are for, dipping them in peanut butter.
I never did that. We were just so low rent. We never thought of that. Were you rich?
Yeah, must have been. Had so much peanut butter. No, actually, my parents went through this phase where they were growing bean sprouts in the dishwasher, and one of them was making our own ketchup, which was horrible.
Goodness, yuck.
And another one was peanut butter, and Rob still buys this stuff, that it's all natural, it's just peanuts, but then you get it, and it's got like 1.5 inches of oil on the top, and you've got to go out to the street and find somebody building a condo with a cement mixer so that you can stir this up. I just want my damn peanut butter. I don't care if it's made from people with underarm hair. Just give me my peanut butter.
I'm afraid I do the stirring like Rob, and 9 times out of 10 you go to stir it and the oil comes sloshing out, and then you have to stir it upside down in the fridge. And,
Is it worth it, Lisa? Is your life long enough that you can lie on your deathbed and say, you know what, I wish I had back those 18 days I spent stirring the peanut butter?
Not anymore.
Right.
There was a time when it was. Not anymore.
Jeez. Oh, okay. My thing would be, let's see, I never liked those cream eggs. They were way too sweet for me.
Yes.
But if I could eat mini eggs, not the Hershey ones, they have to be the Cadbury ones, with the crunchy outside. I hope I got the name right. I haven't had them in so long, Lisa. But the mini eggs, the little ones with the crunchy outside and the chocolate inside, I could eat those the rest of my life, like peanut M&Ms. But it's Easter, so I'll go with the eggs. Yep, that'd be my thing.
Do they taste a little bit malted, sort of, or am I thinking of a different one?
Nope, These ones are just chocolate, or chocolatey, let's say, because we all know that unless you get the really good stuff, you're getting so much, what is it, waxed? Did you ever get a white chocolate bunny when you were a kid?
Oh, there's no such thing as white chocolate, Erin. That's what I would say to my parents. There's no such thing as white chocolate.
It's horrible. It's like they melted a candle and threw in sugar.
It's awful.
Oh, some people must like it, or they wouldn't sell them, right?
Derek likes it.
Oh,
Derek likes white chocolate. In fact, if there's, on Halloween or something, or if people get candy or whatever, they shove that white stuff to Derek because he'll eat it. He likes it. Yeah. He's not like Mikey. He'll eat anything. Yeah.
Oh, your Derek would eat worms if they were coated in a candy shell. I mean, we know Derek, right? Yeah.
Maybe dipped in chocolate too, yeah.
Maybe. Well, for a lot of people, instead of sugar, they sweeten things, whether it's their oatmeal or whatever, with maple syrup. But holy, there's danger on the horizon for our maple syrup industry, it looks like, huh?
Well, it hasn't been a very good winter. We used to actually tap our maple trees out in the old back 40 when I was growing up sometimes and make maple syrup on our own.
Really?
And you have to have some really, really cold nights followed by mild ones enough to get the sap running. And it just hasn't been optimum weather for it. So I guess in Quebec is where most of it's made, and there are reserves, but if it keeps up like this, the reserves will get low, and then the price will go up, and pretty soon it's going to be like trying to buy a pomegranate or something to get your maple syrup.
Yeah, it is liquid gold. And, when you're in the store, if you want the pure maple syrup, you're going to pay through the nose. But something I didn't know, somebody was posting the other day about if you don't buy maple syrup from Vermont, is it even maple syrup? And all these people are going, yeah, absolutely.
Eesh.
I didn't even know anybody else made it. And I thought, look north of the border, y'all, because Quebec provides 90% of the maple syrup in Canada. And get this, more than 2/3 of the world's maple syrup comes from Quebec.
Wow.
So they are in trouble.
It's a lot of work. I mean, especially when you're trying to do it without professional equipment.
I bet.
One year, my dad fell asleep. He was supposed to stay up all night and watch the fire as the sap boiled down, and it went dry. And oh my goodness, we were crushed. We were so upset. Poor Dad.
Yeah. I remember just once when we lived outside of Ottawa in a little town called Cumberland, our school bus driver, Mr. Mahoney, also had you call it a sugar bush?
Yep.
And we got to go and see it and to taste the sap or the beginnings of the syrup on the snow. Back when we ate snow, kids. And here we are, the ones who drank out of the tap in the backyard.
Yep.
So things are iffy because of the climate. It's just not getting cold enough now. And they're trying to distribute more taps as well to keep going for the maple syrup industry. So that's what's going on, girl.
Yeah, well, it's another form of sugar, so I don't actually eat it anymore, which is really unfortunate. Now you're making me want to throw some in the snow and make taffy or something, but there's no snow, so oh well.
Oh, there isn't, eh? Just wait a day or two, right?
That's right, this spring, yeah.
Remember the saying that April is the cruelest month. And in Canada, you could say that about just about any month, but it's April because you are so close. Spring is so close. You can smell it. You can feel it. You can see it. And then, yoink, not so fast. You're going to need that salt on your step again. So hang in there, my friend. I hope you have a wonderful Easter weekend. Are you entertaining? What are you planning?
It's one of those weeks, Erin, where I have so much work piled up that I'm just like a little industrious beaver. I'm like a beaver.
I'm like a beaver.
Just chewing on those logs and trying to get through it. So I'm kind of hoping I'll have some time to think about it later. Maybe tomorrow when we're actually off. I don't know. And everything's closed.
Well, you could always do the Swiss Chalet thing, right?
That's probably going to be our backup.
I don't know what we're doing. It'll be fun, though, because Monday is our son-in-law's birthday, and then next Thursday is Rob's birthday, and birthday palooza.
Cake for everyone.
You know, I'm thinking the old slab cake from Costco might come in handy here because you can keep it for days. I mean, does cake ever really go bad, Lisa? Let's discuss that next week.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't either.
It just becomes crispy cake. That's all. I mean,
you heat it up with maple syrup. That's what you do. You revive that stuff. It's worth it. Oh, take care, my friend. To everyone, thank you so much for listening. We wish you a blessed and peaceful Easter holiday. And, of course, we'll be back with you next week. Thank you. Thank you to Sierra Sil. And I'm so excited to hear how it all works out for Derek now that he's on it, too, Lisa. So that's great.
Yep, he's making notes.
Good.
He knows this is serious.
Good.
He's got to report back. So,
excellent.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to Envy Pillow. I didn't travel with a good mic last week, but I sure did have my Envy Pillow. So 1 out of 2. Not bad. Take care, Lisa.
You too.